Okay, so I'd like to begin our discussion by first talking about unit tests. We'll then get into some interesting topics on cover measurements. We'll do this very kind of briefly, but we will talk about kind of the thoroughness of the potential thoroughness of our unit test. We'll get into an example of how test-driven development works, and then we'll get into some more qualitative and quantitative metrics to assess the complexities associated with our code. So to begin with unit tests are going to be automatic test. So this is going to be really helpful to us because if we would like to exercise, say, some individual unit of our source code or some specific component, the test will be automatic. We're not going to have to come up with a paper full of input and output combinations and manually execute them and see whether or not our program performs the computation of the input to the correct output. We'll see that the automated test allow really make our life easier. So we'll get into that here shortly. We're going to go ahead and characterize for this the purposes of our discussion today a unit as an interface to some type. So when we mean interface, you could think about standard library vector. There's a number of different behaviors you can ask it to exhibit. And if we're thinking about unit testing those behaviors, we could and we'd consider those behaviors the interface or how we go about interacting with objects of those type. So we might write some test and go, hey, is that functioning correctly? Is remove executing properly and things of this nature. The example today, because we haven't got into user-defined types in an elaborate manner, will simply be looking at how this can be helpful to exercise individual functions. With that said, we'll be able to pick this up. I mean, the behaviors that will eventually see our user-defined types implement will be through member functions. So what we say today will hold when we get into those topics. So here's just kind of a short acronym, which I took from my software engineering uh, lecture notes. This was from, let me see here, it's on my bookshelf. It's from Engineering Software as a Service by, I believe, Fox and Patterson. So this is an acronym they had in their text. They kind of go through the cycle of developing software as a service, so inoperable components that come together within a sort of web environment to make a web-based application. But nonetheless, the criteria for the unit test, the test-driven development, these would hold even within our C++ applications. So we want our unit tests to be first. We want them to run fast. So we want to be able to run a subset of tests quickly because we're going to be running them all the time. And when we look at how test-driven development works, there's this continuous cycle where we're executing a test that we just ran. We'll be writing code to go ahead and pass that test, and we'll continue on in this iterative fashion as we go about our way towards implementing a solution to some problem. The I is going to stand for independent. We don't want our tests to depend on others. We want to be able to run any subset in any order. Uh, a test, if it becomes dependent on some other condition, it's not really, and it's not independent. And we are going for independence in our tests so that, again, we can run them in any order. And as we're developing things, we don't have to run them all. Repeatability. So, I mean, if we execute a test n number of times, we should get the same result. If we're not, there's obviously some sort of bugs within our program or maybe within our the test suite we're using. So, if you're going to execute this 100 times, we should get the same result if we don't change our source code. Now, if you go in and you begin tinkering with, say, areas of your code that worked and changing up that, it's very possible that test cases you wrote earlier could indeed fail. And that would help you isolate bugs that were introduced as you're perhaps maybe trying to refactor your code or revise it to make it more digestible, I guess we could use the word. So self-checking tests should be able to automatically detect if they passed or failed. There should be no human checking of the output. This is what makes them really helpful. We don't have to, again, worry about some sort of input to output mapping. We don't need to go in and actually look at the results of this. what we'll see is that the Catch2 framework, which we'll be using in this class, will very clearly show us in green what test cases have passed, and then it will draw attention to the cases that failed by presenting them to us in red. At that case, I mean, we just visually inspect the report. We see there was an issue with test case X, which did Y, and we go ahead and devote our attention there and begin the debugging process from that kind of point forward within our code. Timely. So we shouldn't write our entire application and then come back after and begin writing the test cases. You'll probably uncover a fair number of bugs if you do this. And now you're going to have to begin, from square one, going through kind of stepwise from the beginning of where you began this project all the way through the end and correcting things that could have been caught a lot earlier in the process if our unit tests were written in a timely manner. That is at about the same time as the code under the test. What that means is, hey, we write the test first, or maybe we even write the test a little bit after we've tinkered and added some code. That area that we're working on will be fresh in our mind. If the test case fails, we'll be able to revise it before essentially maybe the errors that are presenting with it could propagate forward into code that comes later. Then at that point, it becomes difficult. I have like a number of unit tests failing. The question is, well, where did this start? And did it start where I think it is? It just becomes a lot more difficult to track down than if you're writing these kind of in parallel with the code that you're looking to implement. So do write your unit test in a timely fashion. Don't wait until you're all done to begin writing to them. Write a couple unit tests. We'll see here, implement some code, ensure the tests turn green, and then kind of up until this point, my program is more or less has some level of correctness. But I mean, again, that's going to be kind of indicative of how well, how sufficient your tests are. And what we'll see here is there are many different ways to write unit test, and the coverage can vary. So that's the next topic. I'll see you back here relatively soon.